We good? Live? Thank you. And we're live there. All right, it's 6:01 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know it's not an agenda item tonight, but I think we should take a moment of silence to remember those who were killed in 9/11 22 years ago. Yeah, so we'll just take a moment. All right, thanks everybody. Back to our regularly scheduled agenda. Carrie, would you mind doing a roll call for us, please?
Mr. Steinberg?
Here.
Mrs. Rorich?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Mr. Whittington?
Here.
Mayor Norton?
Here. Thank you, Carrie. I'll now open up for public comments. If anyone in the public would like to come up and speak, you have 3 minutes to do so. Seeing no one in the public that wants to jump up, we can move on to approval of the agenda. I'd like to make a motion.
All motion.
Thank you. We have a second? Thank you. Any further discussion on the agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting minutes from the August 7th, 8th, and 16th meetings. We had a couple special meetings in there. Any questions, comments, edits needed on any of those three? Carrie, you do way too good a job at that. We can't even nitpick. I'll look for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from 7th, 8th, and 16th.
Motion. Second.
Are you seconding the sneeze?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have a consent agenda tonight. There's a resolution here to accept donations for the Park Pavilion. Any items we want to pull out to discuss? Anything? All right, I'll look for a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now we're going to open up for a public hearing, and Jennifer, it is completely escaping me why we're having public hearing tonight.
Mayor Norton, City Council, there is no public hearing tonight.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking through here like what was my presentations. We also have none scheduled for tonight. We also have no old business. We do have new business. First item would be the RETA Joint Services Agreement. Looks like we have some folks here willing to answer questions if we have any from council. Otherwise, Mr. Bromeland, any thoughts to share on this one?
Sure, absolutely. Mayor and City Council, included with your packet is a joint economic development services agreement regarding the Greater Mankato Regional Marketplace. The purpose of the agreement is for parties wishing to facilitate economic development of the communities that make up the Greater Mankato Regional Marketplace. This endeavor offers a forum to facilitate individual and regional assets and opportunities for the purpose of business development, and will also enable us to enhance our future economic prosperity. Our cost for 2024 is scheduled to be $8,084. That will be paid for using funds allocated in the 206 EDA fund. Our fund for 2023, our cost for 2023 is $7,188. I wanted to note that Eagle Lake was one of the founding communities back in 2009 when the Regional Economic Development Alliance was formed. And then in the audience this evening, we have Jessica Beyer and Ryan VC with the Greater Mankato Growth, and they attended the July 27th City Council meeting, or EDA meeting, and then the August 7th City Council meeting to talk to you guys about the agreement and what GMG RETA has to offer Eagle Lake. And they're here tonight to answer any questions that you might have. So I think they did a good job. I missed your presentation at the last city council meeting due to our extenuating circumstances that evening, but I did get to hear your presentation at the EDA meeting. I thought it was really thorough, and there's a lot of value that you bring to Eagle Lake, and we appreciate being a member. So if there's no questions or concerns, we need a motion to approve the Joint Economic Development Services Agreement. It's by and among Greater Mankato Growth, Inc., and the governmental entities who execute the agreement, and they're listed on the last page of the agreement.
I would move to enter into that agreement.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the RETA agreement? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Can we bring you guys
Thank
a
you
signed
for being
agreement
here.
on Wednesday, or do you need it tonight? Wednesday, okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being here. All right, next item, use agreement with the property owner and farmer for windrows along 598th. This one, we talked about this back in the spring.
Right, and now, we're back to, excuse me, Carrie just mentioned, Jessica left her purse, so I think someone's gonna, maybe Andrew can run it out to her. Thanks, Andrew. So, we talked about this, earlier in 2023. We did not have the farmer leave crops up along 598th, and we had such a unique winter and huge drifts. We ended up renting a road grader to help, make some windrows on their property, that's owned by the Hinnekers. In talking with Andrew, we talked about that there probably is some benefit to leave a couple rows of, or not a couple, but leave some rows of beans. I know when we talked about it in early 2023, the thought was, well, let's not leave up beans, but we're not gonna have the grader at the, yet, and so we're thinking it'll hopefully help prevent some drifting. So if the council's interested, we would need to enter into a use agreement. It'd be with Gary and Kim Hinneker, the owners of the property, and then their farmer, Steve Wolf Jr. I did talk to Mr. Wolf Jr., and he gave me the cost to do that. So we should have some discussion tonight. If you guys are interested in going ahead with that, they'll leave up some rows of beans to help combat drifting, and then we'll have to compensate them for that amount that's left up, so.
My memory might be terrible on this one, but I think I remember a different dollar amount last time. Was there some discussion had about how they got to I feel like it's less than it was.
So the city attorney had recommended how we compensate them, but looking back at how we paid them in the past, this isn't out of the realm of ordinary at all.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yep, and then the use agreement is just pretty similar to what was up there before. I did change just a couple things to reflect what we've currently talked about with the farmer, but.
And Andrew, you think it's worth it?
I think the benefit, to have it there to catch the snow right away and make the windrow right away before everything's full.
Yep.
What's the plan, or is there a plan in place for once it kind of fills in and starts getting big with having brunders come back out or snow fencing put up, or what's the plan that?
I guess my hope would be to catch, majority of the first few snowfalls in the beans and make windrows out of that right away instead of having to wait for the field and everything else to fill up.
Perfect. Be proactive with it all. Okay.
Any other questions, thoughts, comments? All right, all in favor of moving forward with the agreement? Aye.
Need a first, we don't have a motion.
I'll make a
Oh.
motion to approve this agreement.
I'm trying to stamp. Apparently that takes too much of my brain.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Now let's try it again. Any further discussion on this agreement? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Apparently I can't multitask. I'm only that little stamp over there. All right. Next item is a draw request number 3 for Fox Meadows. I think we had anticipated and expected this would be coming along shortly. I have a check here. Any questions, concerns, council, or Mr. Bromland, any comments to add on this one?
Just that, I did send it over to our engineer with Bolton Mink. He reviewed it and recommends escrow funds be released as requested. I will mention, when the original request came in, they had requested to release some funds with the, turf establishment. We went back and said, nope, that's not done, and so they said, okay, we'll change it. So we are still withholding funds for that,
Okay,
so.
I'll look for a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Thank you. We have a second? Second. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll get that signed and over to them. Next item, TIF agreement, or sorry, loan repayment to the general fund. Mr. Bromelin,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mayor and City Council, include with the packet is a letter from Shannon Sweeney with David Drone Associates, and it's regarding our 2022 TIF reports for the city. Mr. Sweeney recommends that the interfund loan for the 3-1 TIF district, and I put in parentheses just to give you some background since most of us weren't around when this was created. But the district was created for the TSB Janesville LLC redevelopment project, and that's over 704 Parkway Avenue where Kitchens, Baths and More Fitness Center and the daycare center are. Anyway, so he had noted that the interfund loan had been documented and can now be transferred to the general fund as repayment for expenditures that the city previously incurred when the fund was set up. Right now, there's a balance of a cash balance of $45,560, which can be transferred to the general fund. And then I just noted in my memo, we would retain $1,000 for the annual reporting costs. And that money can be used for any lawful governmental purpose. So I did talk to Shannon Sweeney about the overall amount that the city will get back. So there's still more that will be coming. I don't have it written down here right now, but it's, I think it's like $68,000 in total. So there'll be some more that'll be coming in. I guess my thought, since it would go back into the general fund and we can use it for anything, my recommendation is that with the ongoing needs at the park and the pond, that $44,560 be transferred to the general fund, and we would do it January 1st. That way it would offset our costs to be able to address the pond and then any other park improvements next year. So with that, just need a motion to approve the interfund transfer and to dedicate the funds towards the improvement of the parks.
I'll look for a motion.
All motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item, I can actually take this one a bit here. So our current insurance agent came in a few months ago and indicated that there would be some rate increases, and we never really understood why or the basis behind it, had some questions, and which kind of led me to going, do we have, the right agent working for us? What should we be expecting? Are we getting a good service? And we talked to Northwest Partners. Their agency has the largest amount of cities on any other agency. So there's a lot of cities they work. They have the biggest chunk of the League of Minnesota Cities business. So this is kind of their main focus. They have a really great program. Carrie and Jennifer and I met with them and walked through some of the offerings, and it seems like we get a lot more bang for the buck as far as services available to us. So if there's any interest in discussing further or deciding to switch agents, that's what's on the agenda for tonight. Mr. Bromelin, anything to add to that I'm forgetting?
Sure. I think we've had a good working relationship with Mr. Kennedy, so I don't have anything, negative to say about that. But after Mayor Norton had introduced Carrie and I to the Northwest Partners, and we had a meeting and kind of looked at some of the different services they offer, I don't think if the council decided to go a different direction, I don't think that it would harm the city. I think, either way, I think we'll be in good hands, whether we stay with Mr. Kennedy or go with Northwest Partners. I did reach out to Mr. Kennedy to see if we could get a meeting set up last week, and he was out of town. But he just wanted me to pass along to the council that he really appreciates a good working relationship with the city. And, you know, he hopes it continues. Something we should probably talk about, because of the renewal just went in, typically the agent that you're working with gets the commission. And in talking with the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust, they said that in this situation, even if we switch, they still recommend that we would give the commission to the current agent, and so we'd be going with a new agent if that's what the council determines tonight, but they would not be getting a commission for the first year. So it's a little awkward, but in talking with the prospective agent, it sounds like that's not an issue. They would be okay with that, knowing that they'd have the city for years to come. So really, it just kind of, I don't know. I think, like I said, I think they both agents would do good for the city. It's, you know, kind of up to what the city wants to do here. And
Well, I mean, this is business, right? This is nothing personal. So I guess the way, obviously, I think we should shop. And then what I would like to see is maybe go back to Mike and just say, hey, this is what we're being offered by other insurance agencies. Can you do the same stuff, or are you gonna stick to where you're at? Again, it's, you know, Mike's gonna be able to do what he can do, and if he can't do, what Northwest can do, then it's all business. It has nothing to do with Mike or whoever the agents are. It has to do with, you know, what we're getting out of it.
I would agree. So we've already got our benefit numbers and we're
Right.
walking down that contract right now, right?
yep,
So
yep,
this change won't change any of those numbers.
no,
So basically, they would be looking at next year. So the more services they offer, would that be something we'll be taking advantage of, or is it just fluff? Yeah, those are cool things, but we're never gonna use them.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there were some, I think they have, it was like $850 annual,
Yep.
Again, an allowance, if you will, that we can use to pay for like CPR certifications, different training opportunities, that kind of thing.
So that's something that we can enroll in and pay for
Yeah.
and take advantage of.
Yeah,
Potentially.
they'd have, I think it's like more quarterly reporting that just sort of arrives, we don't have to go pursue it. It was really,
great.
like, here's where you're at, it's meeting with employees, it's, you know, really, I think just a lot more information at our fingertips, maybe.
I think what I took away too, to piggyback off what Lisa's saying, I think this Northwest Partners has kind of like a schedule that quarterly they reach out to the clients, and kind of let you know what, information they're gonna check to make sure that you're up to speed on, has there been any changes on your policy? Just maybe a little bit more hands-on, I guess, was my takeaway.
And when's the last time we had a, you know, in-depth annual meeting review with Mr. Kennedy?
So not since I've been here, I know Carrie works more closely with the insurance here. In other cities I've worked, it was typically the agent would reach out, we'd sit down, have a meeting and review, like a couple hour meeting, go through, the insurance, but I don't think Carrie's ever had that.
That's been my experience, with township and other things too. It's annual, you know, a couple hours every year. It's almost, can feel a little redundant, right?
Right,
But
right.
it's usually for a good reason. So, well, council, would we like to shop? Would we like to think on this? None of this requires action immediately. It's just something we wanted to start conversations about. We certainly could do the change, but
I think it's always prudent to shop, you know, as long as you know what you want.
And just to be clear too, so everybody knows, the commission they get would not change. So our costs to the city would be the same. It'd just be the level of service or
Right.
services we're getting. I get it clear for that.
It's hard to say, maybe contact one other, you know, it's kind of an unwritten rule to find 3 people or 3 agencies or whatever it is, and just talk to all 3 of them and see which one you like best.
yeah.
Should we maybe just do a kind of a informal committee of the mayor, Carrie, me, and I don't know, that's probably enough. And we can, meet with Mike and then another agent and bring back a recommendation?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm fine with that, because we don't have to, because there's no financial change to
No,
us.
absolutely, no.
But I
no.
agree, I like, having, here's all the options, including our current agent, so. Okay. All right, would anyone like to make that motion? All right, and just clarification, so that it would be to do an informal committee, three of us,
Yes.
and, okay. All right, any further discussion on the insurance agent item? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries, thank you. All right, number 6, on our new business, agreement establishing a regional safety group with our neighboring Madison Lake and St. Clair communities.
All right. Mayor and City Council, in the packet, you'll find an agreement, and that would allow Eagle Lake to partner with neighboring communities, Madison Lake and St. Clair, to form a regional safety group. And that would give us an affordable in-person safety training with help from the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust. They've developed this model. It's been around for quite some time now, and it's just a good way for smaller cities especially to partner with other cities and agencies and facilitate safety training. And the purpose of the agreement is to obviously promote workplace safety and health through the sharing of ideas and knowledge, and by holding regular joint safety and health training, educational programs, and meetings. So in our group, Madison Lake and St. Clair, we talked about having a total of 6 trainings for a year, and then each city would host 2 training sessions, and that would make up our 6. So our cost would be, I did confirm that, it's $1,485 per year per city. And our first meeting would be here in Eagle Lake on November 13th, if we go ahead here. And I should note, I have been part of a regional safety group in another city that I worked, and I know firsthand, they're really good, valuable opportunities. We have people that know what they're doing. We've tried to do things on our own here, and it's just now got moved to online training, and I can tell you, I just don't think people are getting enough out of the online training. It's very hard to for everybody to be engaged. So I would strongly recommend we go this route. I think it'll really help us make sure we're up to speed on what we need to be doing to make sure our workplace is safe. So with that, I'll let you guys ask any questions, and then we would just need a motion to approve becoming a member.
I was just gonna ask, but then I read and learned, so it's unlimited number of employees can access.
And I did ask about, should we have the fire department, like the fire chief there, and they said typically fire departments handle their own training, so you guys are good. So just be our public works staff, police, city hall.
These are mandatory training.
Yep, be
Modules?
mandatory,
Okay.
yep.
All right. Council, any questions, comments? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to approve joining or forming, I'm not sure how to phrase
Yep,
it.
that's right.
The regional safety group with Madison Lake and St. Clair.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And do we have a contract that I'll need to sign for that?
Yes, and it's probably not in the folder, so I will get you that, Lisa. Thank
Okay.
you for pointing that out.
Yeah. All right, next item, number 7, utility rate recommendations on water, sewer, and storm waters.
All right.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mayor and city council, you guys are starting to probably get used to this each year now. I think we're in a good schedule here of getting our utility rates reviewed and analysis provided by Shan Sweeney with David Drone Associates. So he's, again, done another utility rate analysis after getting the preliminary budget and looking at our debt service and our upcoming needs. And so right now, he's recommending in the water enterprise that a 6% increase be recommended for 2024, 4% for sewer, and then our stormwater would go up a little bit more. But as you can see, we'd been holding steady at a very low amount, and we are, far under what we need to be able to operate that fund. So that increases a little bit more, but still not out of the realm of what would be considered acceptable. So included then, there's an illustration that shows what the projected monthly increase for an average residential customer would be based on the average monthly water consumption of 5,000 gallons. Under this scenario and using 2023 rates, the overall monthly utility bill, which includes water, sewer, storm, refuse, recycling, and tax, would be about $109.11. Then when we factor in the recommended rate increases for 2024, that monthly total would increase from $109.11 to $115.95. So we're looking at just under $7. And just to note, the reason that I'm bringing this up now is so that we can get the information into the fall newsletter, but the recommended rate increases won't actually take effect until January's usage, which is billed in February. So that's why I like to get it done in the fall, that way for budgeting, and then also just to get the word out, to let people know. So, and then if you look at some of those analysis, you'll see the line that that Shannon always points us to, we want to look at, is that net increase in cash. And you can see with our, the debt service that, it's going to take some time before we break even in water. And that's why we just have to keep up with these increases, and we're trying to keep it reasonable so that it's affordable for residents too. But and then coming up in 2028, there's going to be some debt dropping off, and so that will help. Then you can look on that future rate increase, and you'll see once we get up to 2028, then we'll start seeing a positive balance, and some of that debt service falls off. So. Anyways, with that, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer. But otherwise, just in summary, this is important to keep up with our operating costs, capital improvement projects.
All right, council, any questions, comments, concerns? All right, I'll look for a motion to approve the recommended rate increases for 2024.
No motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item is resolution adopting the proposed 2024 preliminary budget and tax levy.
All right, Mayor and City Council, as you know, we talked at our special work session, cities are required to prepare and adopt a proposed budget and property tax levy each year. By law in Minnesota, the fiscal year of a city and all of its funds must be calendar years, so that's January 1st to December 31st. And our budget is just 1 year of estimated money coming in, or revenue and expenditures, or money going out. Cities that are over 500 in population that propose a property tax increase are required to provide notice of the proposed budget adoption and allow public input on the proposed budget and property tax levy. And that's at a meeting called the Truth in Taxation meeting, and that is where cities, we have to certify the proposed property tax levy to the county auditor on or before September 30th. And then once the levy has been certified, it can be reduced, but it can't be increased prior to being adopted. And just to note, the levy is comprised of the general fund, the EDA, and debt service. So the water, sewer funds, those are not part of the tax levy. Those are considered enterprise funds and are supposed to be funded through the revenues coming in to be able to support the operating expenses. Truth in Taxation public comment hearing must occur sometime between November 25th and December 28th. I went ahead and tentatively scheduled that for Monday, December 4th at 6 o'clock at the regularly scheduled December City Council meeting. And then after that, the final levy must be certified to the county auditor by or before December 28th. And then we also have to file a certificate of compliance with the Department of Revenue by that same date. So I'll just scroll down through what's in the packet here. So just to give you some background, I included last year's final levy information. It was set at approximately 9%, or an increase of $80,361. And property taxes should have stayed pretty flat unless a property's valuation increased. And then also for reference purposes, I have a tax levy history that shows tax levy by year. We'll go on to the next page here, so you'll see there's a general fund, EDA, debt service, total tax levy, and then there's columns with what we had for the 2022 budget final, 2023 final, and then proposed for 2024. And you'll see that the general fund is proposed to increase $175,093. EDA would stay the same. Debt service would go down slightly, $19,371. But overall, we're looking at a tax levy increase of $155,722, or 16%. And then moving on below that, I listed the proposed 2024 general fund expenditures and then the proposed 2024 general fund revenues. And then you'll see we've got planned deficit spending using our capital outlay reserves. So basically the budget would be balanced except for $181,627 in planned capital outlay expenditures. And that's just the intentional drawing down of money that was set aside for capital outlay, which would be fire, police, streets, parks expenditures. I just want to note, we've talked about this, I think, the last couple of years, and I know sometimes the council's uncomfortable with having, doing the planned deficit spending, but after talking with our auditors, really, there's no way around it. We have this money that we've set aside, now we need to spend it. And so this is the best way to go about doing that on the bookkeeping side. And then also included in the packet is a spreadsheet, and this I get from Blue Earth County, and it shows estimated net tax capacity and levy impact. And this sheet is helpful because I can plug in different percentages, and it'll show us kind of what property taxes will look like for a different scenarios, like a $300,000 house, $500,000 house. And this is just residential, it's not commercial, but at least it gives us an idea when you do that, kind of what the impact is gonna be on a property. The thing to note, I know I started off talking about how last year most people's property taxes probably didn't increase too much unless their valuations increased, but if valuations have increased, then people's taxes are gonna increase accordingly. So, and that we have no control over, that's at the county. And so if people notice a significant increase, we wanna make sure that we redirect them to look at your valuation. Did your valuation increase? I know looking at mine, when I got that notice and there was a Board of Appeal, just in my own personal property, looking at the valuation has increased quite substantially. So I'm assuming others in the community are gonna see similar. So, and in that scenario, I would just anticipate that yes, this year my taxes are going to increase, even though our tax rate is slightly lower than what it was set at last year because my valuations increased. So, let's see. And then I wanted to just, note again, because this usually comes up there's usually one person at every Truth and Taxation hearing that comes to talk about their valuation. So I think it's really important if you get contacted by residents, once they get the proposed property tax statement, to just remember the valuation, if it goes up, is gonna impact, and just keep that in mind. And then if people do want to challenge their valuation, that's not at the city council level, that's at Blue Earth County, and there was notice provided, and that's in April when Blue Earth County allows taxpayers to contact them and appeal their valuations. So, and then finally, I also include a little paragraph in here about discussion that we had at the special budget work session on August 16th. We talked about setting aside some funding to address the pond. Right now, we don't know what that exact funding is going to be, so right now I put in about $20,000, hoping that will be enough. And then again, just noting what you guys already approved tonight, that this expense will be offset by the interfund transfer. In case you're wondering how come things didn't change dramatically with the levy, that's because we were able to bring that in for January 1st for revenue, and that should help. So. And then resolution number 23-39, that's in your packet as well. So if you guys are comfortable tonight in moving ahead, we'll just need a motion to adopt that, and I'll certify that to Blue Earth County. Oh, one thing I should mention too, we've had a lot of discussion about police staffing, different scenarios. That was another topic at the last meeting, and I just want you to know that no matter what route we would have to go for coverage, that, you know, we should have sufficient. I've tried to do the best I can, because I know questions came up, well, should we plan for 4 full-time employees? Should we plan for what we're doing right now? You know, just different scenarios. We should be covered. I beefed up the police department budget, just to make sure. So I feel comfortable about that. I just wanted to give you that reassurance, because I know there's some unknowns right now. So,
Yeah, definitely.
and then any other questions, guys, just let me know. I will do my best to answer them.
All right, any questions, comments? I know we've gone through budget quite a bit in our special meetings, so makes it a little easier here tonight. I'll look for a motion then to approve the resolution for the preliminary 2024 budget and tax levy.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda, fire department requests to use gambling fund proceeds to purchase uniforms. I see Chief Simpson's here. If we have questions, I'm sure he can fill us in there. Our Administrator Bomelin looks pretty cut and dry. You guys need
Yes.
clothes, right? Clothes are good. Yeah. Any questions, comments? Anybody? I'll look
Make
for a
a
motion.
motion
Thank
to
you.
approve the gambling funds for clothing.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item, authorization to sell the 2020 Country Clipper mower and the 2008 Ford F-250 on min bid. Public Works Director Hartman has recommended this is probably a good idea because we don't need the Country Clipper, and feel free to chime in here if you'd like, but,
I need more space in the shop, so.
all right. If your
No.
next question would be to build another giant shop to house the vehicles, then we'd be having a different discussion, but.
We'll save that for next month, but. No, I mean, both of them are basically just sitting now. With the F-250, we got the plow and being installed, hopefully it'll be done tomorrow. All the other accessories later this month are gonna get installed, so we have no use for the 250 anymore, and the mower's been sitting idle waiting to go, so.
And we have the new Bobcat one, right?
Yep, correct.
How's it working?
Perfect.
Yeah, good.
Only thing I thought of is there any like rough areas that we can keep one of them to like use for a mulcher or go over rough areas with the Country Clipper or no?
Yeah, we have our other 60-inch country clipper that we, use ditches and, do the ditches and things like that with that, so,
Sacrificial mower.
right? Yep.
You need one.
So we have 2 mowers, working mowers right now, right?
We have 3 because we still have the John Deere mower. It doesn't get used quite as much, but, that's the one that we put the snow blower on in the winter. So we use that in between if we need to, if a mower's down but yeah, we have 2 of the 0 turns up and running, and then this one would be the 3rd.
All right, no good use for keeping the 2008 F-250 around for anything.
I don't think so right now.
All right. Any other questions, comments from council? I'll look for a motion. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item, also in regards to Public Works, this is a request to purchase two-way radios for equipment. Sounds like a much safer way to conduct ourselves than the current cell phones. I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, we've always kind of went back and forth on, yeah, we got Bluetooth earpieces and stuff for our phones, but you still gotta get your phone out, dial, when you're plowing or stuck or so. And then there's other projects and things we're working on where, one of us is a block away from the other, and it's kind of, redundant to pull out your phone. Okay, are you ready yet? No, call back. So we figured it was time to, make life a little bit easier and more simple.
All
We
right,
don't have two-way radios.
No. So we would be putting, 2 units and one in each plow truck that are hard mounted in there, and then 4 portable radios for each of us full-time that can, if we're out and about doing whatever. The other stuff that I crossed off was for a repeater. We tried them out for a couple days and they seemed to work okay, without it. So we're gonna, give it the winter, see how it does without a repeater, and then we might have to look at that in the future.
sorry to ask an elementary question here, but what is a repeater?
Basically something to bounce off of. So the radio can bounce off the repeater and back to a different radio instead of just radio to radio.
If my husband's listening right now, I'm sure he's laughing at my question, but I've never even heard of that. All right, well, any other?
So just replace cell phones so that we don't need to have a phone?
No, because we're still calling, salesmen and, things like that, or,
Jennifer's never you.
weekend call outs and things like that we're still utilizing our phone for. I'm on my phone probably 4 hours out of the day with different salesmen and everything else, so.
There's no desk phone we don't have desk phone?
Yeah, but that's hard when you're out in the field working.
Do you think, Andrew, that all of the public works employees need a cell phone, I know you talked about like call outs, so is that kind of what you're thinking? I mean, do
Right.
they,
Yeah, call outs, and then, if, depending on how these work, if we can't reach all the way across town with them, is it cheaper to keep our cell phones than to pay for the repeater type
No.
thing?
Probably not. No, I think we need to take a look at our cell phone, and how we're using them. It makes sense for you as the director to have one, but I don't know anybody else, within your staff, this kind of things. It's kind of seems like we're doubling up a little bit. Maybe we're not, I think we just need to take a look at that.
Right, yeah, 'cause I know, when the water tower calls out, it calls all 4 of us, so we're all getting notified, things like that,
Well, yeah, it's just those things, right? So if we're talking, couple calls a month, that's one thing. If you guys are getting a couple calls a day, I think it's something different.
right.
So I think we just need to take a look at it, make sure we're not doubling up.
As far as the two-ways, I've never not had a two-way.
I guess I assumed they already had them.
That's crazy. Especially snow plowing is,
Yeah, no,
it's really dangerous with your phone. And you can just grab the walkie right on your shoulder
No,
while plowing, so.
like, I assumed they had them, so
Yeah.
this is kind of a surprise when it showed up in the packet, so.
So if I'm hearing you guys correctly, it looks like we need to, need a motion to approve purchasing the radios, but then also look at the cell phone
I think we just need
policy
to look
or
at me up. So.
use, okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the two-way radios for the staff.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, Climate Impact Corps Site Agreement for Community Forestry Member.
right, Mayor and City Council, it's a mouthful. We have been awarded another community forestry member with the Climate Impact Corps for the 2023-2024 year. So this will be Eagle Lake's 3rd community forestry member. And that person would be used to assist with emerald ash borer, EAB outreach and education, tree planting, raid garden maintenance, and other different related activities. Right now, I've been the person that supervises the position. That's worked fine. I don't mind doing it again. So that's what I would recommend we do this time. But I think it's really important that we have this person just with EAB, and when questions come up from the public, it'll be nice to have somebody that can go out and look at a tree. They might not be able to make the determination, but they can help the property owner reach the right people. So I think it'll be of good value to the city. So where they're gonna be housed, I'm not entirely sure yet. I did talk to, the supervisor with the climate impact cores, and they said this person could work in the council chambers. They're gonna be out in the field for the most part, and they'll have a notebook computer. I mean, here, they don't have to have an office, so, and that's something we'll have to kind of navigate. But anyways, with that, just need a motion to retroactively approve the site agreement. And then after that, I will go ahead and start helping with the recruitment for that. And I should note, there's no cost to the city. We just have to provide, you know, a workspace here, computer, and that's about it.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the Climate Impact Core Site Agreement for a Community Forestry member? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Final item under new business, pricing for a mass notification system.
All right. As you guys all know, during the last city council meeting in August, we had the power outage and subsequent loss of water pressure. And it became quickly apparent to me that, boy, we really could use a mass notification system so we don't have to spend time doing email, Facebook, just a good way to communicate with residents. But they also have to sign up. But it would be a good way just to push some information out as quick as possible. So did get some pricing from a couple vendors. I don't know if you say it as GoGov or GeoGov and Civic Plus, but I did talk to some other cities and looked around, and then I did online demonstration, and I really liked that GoGov. I think that would be a good one. I know it costs more than the Civic Plus, but I think it'll be really good for Eagle Lake and kind of bring us up to speed with our communications as far as being more, I don't know, current with the different ways that people get their information, because they'd be able to download an app and then be able to get our information. And I just think it'll really make things a lot more efficient. And then the other thing that's great is I think we can get away from MailChimp. I think we'll be able to, I don't think I know, we'll be able to use this for email too. So I think that'll be really nice. And there's a whole bunch of other features I don't even really know because I haven't, obviously used it yet. But it does look like a lot of money, but I think when you think about the value to our residents and having timely information for snow emergencies, let's just say we have a holiday and garbage, just sending out a reminder, hey, garbage is on, it's on Friday this week, or nope, it's Thursday. I think it'll pay for itself, so.
I think of all the questions on the informal Facebook page, I see the most is about garbage on holiday weeks.
So this would be a good way for people that we can just send out, information on lots of different things. So.
Yeah. And this is for the city of Bromoland?
For what? What did I?
No, for your dummy account that you did the testing for the city of Bromoland.
Oh, on the thing
Yeah.
in here. Oh, I did
Yeah.
not do that. They did that.
Oh.
I don't know. I did not. Well, I was like, what? No, but what was I going to say? I think the other thing too, when I talked to the GoGov, he said it would probably take about a month, but they'll help us get everything put together and help us launch it. Because that was the big thing too. I didn't get that sense from Civic Plus that we were necessarily going to have as much help with the launching, and we're going to need that because we're almost to the final stages on another note with our website and getting that to go live. But we just are so bogged down with things, and so it takes a while.
With recent experiences, just plus the kind of everyday things, the snow emergencies
Yes.
and stuff, I
Yep.
feel like this is absolutely a no-brainer.
Yep.
And I appreciate you doing a lot of research on this. And
Look, you said you have to have an app. Does it also do text?
Yes, text
Okay.
messages.
Because not everybody
Yes.
will want to download an app.
Yep, absolutely. And it'll do emails, so if someone just does emails, it'll do that too. So, and
Okay. Oh.
it will work with our website too, I did check that, so it should be compatible.
and people can opt out.
Yeah, yep, anytime.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from GoGov in the amount of $3,900 annually.
All right,
I'll second.
thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, other. New law regarding managed natural and native landscaping and next steps.
All right. Do you want me to take this one, Lisa? I know you were contacted about it, but I can.
I would absolutely love it if you want to.
Okay, I'll try. So I did reach out to, I should back up. So to give a little background, we did get contacted by a resident who had asked if the city could look into this new law and how that might impact people that don't want to have just your traditional kind of that turf grass lawn. So there is this new law that went into effect July 1st, 2023. And it basically is that says that municipalities, are required to allow property owners and occupants to install and maintain natural landscapes. It doesn't mean that they can grow noxious weeds and just let their yard go by the wayside. They have to intentionally plant items that would fall within that category. I referenced there was an article by the League of Minnesota Cities, which I include with the packet, that basically says if your city ordinance is not consistent with the change, it would not be enforceable and may need to be amended or repealed. Did reach out to our city attorney, Chris Kennedy. He said at this time the city does not have to take any action unless the city council wants to, but basically in his letter, which I've included in here too, if people have noxious weeds, grass that's in excess of what our height limit is, the police department absolutely can enforce that. But what we can't do is we can't say someone who's got native grass that's planted in excess of 6 inches or 8 inches, we can't do anything about that because they're protected by this new law. So that's just a real quick summary of that.
How does one differentiate between grass and native grass or non-native? I mean, is there a cheat sheet? I mean,
I don't know. I guess we'd have to ask them the species or whatever you call the different. But, you know,
There's
I
not-
guess from my
person.
perspective, if you look around town already, you know, a lot of people already have those native
Prairie
plants,
grass
prairie
thing,
grass.
yeah.
So I think it's gonna be pretty obvious, but I don't know. And it's gonna be what people can't do if they think they can do is just let their yard go by the wayside. That's still noxious.
that's my
weeds.
fear. I'm
Yes.
sure that's the.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hopefully having League of Minnesota Cities
Some of these
clarify.
native grasses that, you know, when I Google native grasses, some of them look like people's bushes or shrubs, you know, like they look like landscape stuff too. So when we talk about easements and, you know, whether it be city easement, pipeline easements, all that stuff.
That's a good
because
point.
it's a grass, how do, I mean, I look at myself, I have the pipeline, you know, the gas line in my backyard, can I put native grass in it? Or they told me I can't put anything in it, so like, how does that, or do we not navigate that? 'Cause
Boy.
you see the easements around all the utility boxes and stuff too, but.
That's a great question, and probably something that hasn't been thought about maybe. But I know like in our code, we talk about don't plant a tree in an easement, people still do. Don't put it in the, you know, like right on the property line, people still do that. But yeah, I don't know with the pipeline, that's a really good question. I guess we would tell them probably from the city's perspective, stay out of that area, but,
So really just
But-
Culver deals with that easement, yeah.
you know,
You never have to dig that up, or you might spend $5,000 and it gets done.
I mean, some of it you can clearly tell
Yep.
that is like good looking stuff. But it's not a whole field of it, so.
Right.
Their yard, I guess, would depend on whether it looks good or doesn't, but if it's by law, we can't really do about it. Does our grass, like tall grass ordinance, are we at 8 inches now, or where are we at? Does that match the law?
6 inches, right? Yeah, so no.
When I read it, is the new law, is that 8 inches?
No, so that's where it got kind of, I had to read that a couple times too. So my takeaway was that we could still enforce no higher than 6 for the noxious weeds, but the other grass, 8 inches in height, like the prairie grass and stuff would be allowed. It's kind of confusing. I had to read a couple times, Beth. I know exactly what you're asking. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. No problem with that.
If you flip his letter over and look at number 5, so turf grass lawn.
Yep,
Means a lawn that's composed mostly of grasses commonly used in regularly cut lawns and clears, including but not limited to bluegrass, fescue, ryegrass, intended to be maintained to a height of no more than 8 more. And that is not, according to A1, part of a managed natural landscape. So now as long as we can identify the breed of every blade of grass, we can enforce or not enforce this.
I heard they had a school in Hawaii in December to recognize different grass and stuff.
You need us to send you to Hawaii in December for a grass training class?
Month-long class.
Nice try, John.
Okay, I know this is really redundant, but you just said 8 inches though again. Turf grass, no more than 8 inches, but ours is 6, right?
No more
Well-
than 6 inches. I think what he's trying to say in there, because I had to read it a couple times too. We're fine with ours. It's the turf grass, the excess, anything above that 6 inches we can address. It's the prairie grasses and the other,
It's not a managed natural landscape, then it's not protected, if you will. Regardless of height. So, I'm guessing the league might have some advice about this at some point when they get caught up with the really important things that are.
I bet they will too.
Yeah, I know they're just kind of bogged down with a lot of very high-profile items, I'm sure. But I would say we've got a little time on this since it's a few months away. I don't know that we need to take any action. It doesn't sound like we need to. And maybe we just see what the league comes up with over the winter and revisit again in the spring or before spring.
Right. Yeah, there really isn't, no, but, yep. Yep, and then basically, we just need to know that we still can enforce people who don't mow their lawn, that we absolutely have the right to enforce that.
You can't enforce the native.
Yep, yep, so if somebody wants to turn their whole yard into what would qualify or fall under that managed
Prairie
natural.
grass or
Yep.
something. Yeah,
There's
then-
nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
But
So we don't need to amend anything
Nope.
in our ordinances
Nope.
then? Because this is already,
Yep, I did make
Okay.
a phone call to the city attorney following his letter, and I just wanted to confirm that. He said, nope, no action is needed at this time, unless the council would deem that they want to change something.
all right.
So you guys are good.
So unless anyone wants to change anything, I say we don't have any action, so we're gonna move on.
It was a good question that the resident raised, so we could look into it, because there are so many changes that came out of this session. It's hard to keep up
Yeah.
with everything, so that was good.
All right, well, thank you for looking into that, Jennifer, and providing this information, getting that advice from council for us. Moving on to other, number 2, police department staffing update.
All right, I'll just give you guys a quick update here. So as you know, we continue to struggle to hire police officers. We talked at the special August 7th meeting about a conditional offer that had been extended and accepted for the position of a part-time police sergeant. And then that individual that received and accepted the offer later withdrew their name. So we're kind of back to the drawing board again. And then since that time, the conditional offer that we extended to a full-time officer that had been hired contingent upon meeting our requirements for hiring. We had to rescind that due to the applicant not passing the required background. So then we did also receive an application, and we did hold an interview, but we decided not to extend an offer. And then after I sent this out, we did get one other application, but I haven't had a chance to review it yet, and determine if we're gonna do an interview or not. So right now, as you know, to help fill gaps in coverage and try to ensure the best coverage for our community, we're contracting with Blue Earth County for up to 20 hours of patrol during the times when Chief Cop is not on duty. And given the ongoing police shortage and our inability to fill the vacancies, the Personnel Committee has been spending a lot of time doing work on researching viable options to be able to ensure the most and best public safety services for our residents and businesses. We're still working through some things, and so we'd like to request that the City Council schedule a special meeting for later this month that we could devote entirely to the police department staffing matter, and then also to give the Personnel Committee an opportunity to present findings, recommendations on the most feasible options to ensure the best coverage for our community. And I can give you an idea of a possible date and see if it works for you guys. We do have a planning commission meeting coming up on the 18th. If we want to stick to a Monday, we could look at the 25th, although there is a referendum information committee at the school, and I'm assuming Mayor Norton and I will be there. We could do it after that, possibly at 7 o'clock. Otherwise, let's see.
I would be fine with that, 25th at 7.
Does that work for you guys, everybody?
Well, let's take this in sections. Do we think that it is a good idea to have a special city council meeting? To me, I think, given that we don't have a bunch of applicants pending at the moment, do we?
Just the one.
We're still in very dire straits right now. And personnel is already working on putting together kind of the options.
Yes.
Okay. I would definitely be in favor of this. Any thoughts, comments, council, on doing a meeting? All right, I'm gonna take silence and quiet nods as yes. So then let's go to you said the 25th, Jennifer?
Yes.
At 7, does that work for folks?
Yeah.
All right.
We're not gonna hire a new officer before this meeting, are we?
Absolutely
We don't
not.
even
No.
have an applicant.
No, we have one applicant, but it just came in late Friday, haven't even reviewed it yet. And even if we did hire somebody, we still need to have this discussion because look at what happened, what I just reviewed.
Yeah.
We have extended offers, they've been accepted, they withdraw their name. I mean, we're just kind of back and forth,
So
back
it's
and forth.
basically, stuff is basically paused until that meeting.
Yeah.
With hiring.
I assume everything's still open, job.
Yeah.
open,
Absolutely,
posted,
yep.
all that stuff. So I mean, no action's being taken, everything's.
We could still schedule an interview, it doesn't mean that we're going to move ahead.
This
Yep.
gives us the time not to talk publicly at our next meeting, but devote it just to police.
Do you think there's a good likelihood that this applicant is someone we'd want to do an interview with?
I haven't honestly spent
Okay.
enough time reviewing. But we will go ahead, like Councilmember Roach said, we won't hold up the process. We're not going to hire anybody before the September 25th meeting. It's not even possible. We'll just continue
Yeah.
reviewing applications that come in, and if we want to schedule an interview, we can do that, but there'll be nobody hired.
Any idea, but it's only 3 weeks away, what the October meeting's gonna look like? If it's gonna be like today, where we're done at 7:30 and like.
Well,
Just jinxed us.
No, well, I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna meet at 7 o'clock on the 25th, meeting at 7 o'clock on the first, a week later.
yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be too heavy. We got a lot of items done tonight. The preliminary budget and levy is done, so I don't right now know of any items that would, so let's see, it's October.
More or less bringing it up, I'm fine with the meeting on the 25th as well, just devote it to that.
Do we anticipate anyone, I mean, obviously the public is certainly welcome and encouraged to attend, but will there be any invitations out to Blue Earth County?
Yeah, I'm sure we would invite them to come in and talk about different options.
Just on that alone, I think I'd rather have a dedicated meeting for them so they're not waiting through us, yeah. But I get what you're saying, it's, a week away, but I'll look for a motion then if we're good to get this scheduled.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second your motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, thanks, guys. Next item then, we're into the city administrator report. I will hand that over to you, Jennifer.
All right, so I just wanted to include the 2022 population household estimates. It's just very encouraging. Eagle Lake continues to grow. Not every small community can say that, so I think that's really a positive. Our 2020 census population was 3,278, and our April 1st, 2022 population estimate was, is 3,331. And it also includes a household estimate of 1,210. So we're trending in the right direction. That's a good thing. Expenditure and revenue report. I sent out an email this morning, realized I don't need to send you a duplicate report. The same thing is in the budget report, so hopefully you had a chance to look at that. Any questions, just let me know. I can look up the line item and give you guys detail. And then, as we already talked about, community forestry member recruitment, I will work to start pushing out some of the recruitment materials that they provide and try to help them get somebody for that position. Storm drain stenciling activity, that's one of the requirements of our MS4 program is we do some sort of public education, engaging the community. It seemed like it was well received last year. So we are gonna be working to have something yet this fall. As soon as we get that scheduled, we'll let the public know. And if we have some volunteers that wanna help out, that would be great. And then upcoming mayors and clerks meeting, it's our turn to host the October meeting. We're still trying to finalize the date. It sounds like we won't be able to have it at the American Legion like we used to, or we've done in past meetings. So I was gonna try to reach out and find somebody to cater it here at City Hall, so.
Could
at
Eagles
least-
Nest do that?
Yeah, the only thing is I just don't, we maybe could have them bring food in. I don't know if they've got the room. It's so noisy.
No, I mean, have it here, but have them do the food?
Oh, yeah, we could certainly ask them. I could definitely check into that. And then I just want to give you an update on, so working with our new community development coordinator, Olivia. She's doing a great job, by the way. She is working, she's kind of taking the lead with an MSU graduate class that is working on like a capstone project, studio project for their graduate program for urban and planning. And the South Central Service Cooperative have reached out on their behalf to cities like Eagle Lake and said, if you have any project like land use update, comp plan update, housing study, let us know, we'll try to help you. So initially, Livy and I talked and we said, okay, this would be great. Let's have them help us with our comprehensive plan because it hasn't been updated since '91. And so we went to talk to the class because they were gonna pick which city they wanted to have for their project. And the director of the program said, oh, I didn't realize your comprehensive plan hadn't been updated that long. She's like, we really can't do, because it's so outdated. So she said, we need to just pick one area. So then Olivia and I said, well, how about land use? That would probably be the most helpful. So we can really work, and so what we're having to work on is the land on 14, just, you know, review everything, like what should this area be zoned at? Is it zoned correctly? What can we do to get this area developed? So anyway, so that's where we're at with that, and so they may be coming to a council meeting. They'll for sure be going to a planning commission meeting. Just want to give you guys an update so you don't hear about it and then wonder what's going on. Who is this class that's doing this for the city? So any questions come up, just let me know. And then next, the corridor study for Highway 14. We did, Lisa and I, Mayor Norton and I did get confirmation that that has been approved, so we'll be getting some more information, let you know kind of next steps in the timeline for that. And then lastly, I wanted to give you an update on Regency. Occasionally we'll get a complaint from the resident about the condition or the way it looks out there, and have been staying in contact with Kim Stumney. She's the manager, and I know Chief Cop does periodically too. They have started the tear downs. It's going much slower than they had initially hoped. It sounds like the problem they're running into is they have like a machine that helps tear things down, and then they got the dumpsters, and they can't get the dumpsters emptied, and then they're wasting money on machine or equipment that they're renting. So it's been kind of a battle. But they think they're gonna have at least 3, hopefully 4 done in 2023, then they have to keep doing more.
Yeah,
in
I think we should just
2024.
start finding them because it's an eyesore out there. I've had complaints to me personally about how much of an absolute disaster and an eyesore it is and nothing getting done about it being fixed. So that's just my input from a couple of residents.
I think and that's, I get that perspective, but when we visited last time, if my memory's correct, and Chief Cop might be able to help us out here, but I think we were advised that we wanted to proceed cautiously because some of the units were owned by Regency, some of them had title by other people, and then if the city goes in and it starts, we would have to front the cost, and we may not be successful in getting reimbursed, and it could just end up being a real big mess. We were kind of advised, the recommendation was try to work with Regency, which we're trying to do, but we can always, like Councilmember Steinberg saying, if that's not working, we can go back to legal counsel and see what our options are. But that's why we went this route.
Do we have any idea on how many of these eyesore units there are?
yes, and I don't know right off the top of my head, but we did have a map kind of identified. Our building inspector went through, and then he deemed the ones that were uninhabitable, and he's got a listing of them, and I couldn't tell you right now off the top of my head. I want to say there was like 11 maybe, something like that, 10 or 11.
So this is a decent amount
Yeah.
that's getting
It's a
gone
public
of that.
nuisance.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone would disagree with that, but what I'd like to see is a progress. It looks, like there's some progress being made.
Yeah.
Is there a plan for 2024? Do we know?
So they need to at least do 3 to 4 again, but, I think the goal, they had wanted to do 3 to 4 in 2022, and that just never got done because of the issues with the dumpsters, so.
Okay.
So we will keep working on that, guys, and I'll
Okay.
give you updates. And that concludes my report, thank you.
Thank you very much. Council member reports. Councilmember Rorich, anything? Okay, Councilmember White? Okay, I can't even get your names out. I don't have a huge report, but what I do have is a question, and probably don't even need to have it here, but I've noticed that my trees are already like dropping leaves like crazy. Are we bumping it up the leaf collection at all this year? Earlier? I'm just wondering, is anyone else saying anything? Because I could already use it
We
at
were,
this point.
we were just talking about that today, and Andrew, you can go ahead and talk, but like Andrew said, because of how dry it's been, they might drop really quick this year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we usually try and wait till it makes it worthwhile to get the equipment out, so,
Is it just my tree?
there's,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, yeah,
yep,
yes. Yep,
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 Right.
no, the guys have been getting
Yeah.
stuff ready. So Andrew and I were talking today about just updating what we used last year, because he divided the town into 2 zones, and he recommends we stick with the 2 zones, even though they could possibly get the whole town done in 3/4 of a day.
Right.
But just to keep it so people know, something happens,
right.
you might not,
And we still have that big leaf pile
yes,
dump spot.
Yep,
yep.
Is that that's not our,
Nope, we have an agreement to use that,
yeah.
yep.
okay. All right, well, that was my only question. The only other thing you already mentioned on Jennifer was the 14 study. There's a lot of money being put at this, so I'm really glad that it's getting some attention. I know there was another accident this weekend. Thankfully, no serious injuries, so that's great to hear. But just further, I think, convinces everybody that something needs to happen. We just got to figure out what that is. So, yeah. Announcements. Upcoming regular city council meeting, October 2nd. We'll be adding that special meeting in on the 25th, the week before. Next EDA, September 28th at 6:45 a.m. Regular park board, September 14th. That's this Thursday at 6:45. And planning commission, September 18th at 6 p.m. I will look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.